I think we're running out of time. Key witnesses are dead. I think this is the last chance. I doubt, personally, that even if Masood is convicted, that those who continue to believe that they got the wrong man will continue their case. These theories have a life of their own, don't they? I mean, we look back at the Kennedy assassination, and I think something like 70% of Americans believe that they got the wrong verdict there. So I think the conspiracy theories will continue, whatever happens. But critically, I think if Masood is convicted, I think to those who really look hard at the evidence, that is the end of the affair.
This election was due to begin today at a federal court in Washington for the trial of Abu Agila Masood Kheir Al-Marimi. The 75-year-old is charged with making the bomb that downed Pan Am Flight 103 over Lockerbie in December 1988. Masood is said to have made a full confession in a Libyan prison. Many believe that Scottish police got the wrong man 25 years ago when Abdel Basset al-Megrahi was charged and imprisoned in Scotland. So, can this be the case that brings closure to all of those impacted by the disaster? Magnus Linklater covered Lockerbie at the time and wrote a piece in the Times this week reflecting on whether this will be something that represents a landmark, I suppose, Magnus, for those involved. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
It's fair to say that for the decades since the Lockerbie bombing, in which 259 passengers and crew and 11 people in Lockerbie were killed, that those who have been affected have never really felt like they have got to the bottom of exactly what happened. There's been a real vacuum for all these decades.
Yes, there's been a vacuum, and of course that vacuum over the years has been filled by many conspiracy theories, and indeed I think the conspiracy theories have almost gained the upper hand over the years, with the suggestion that they got the wrong man, that the one man who was convicted of the Lockerbie bombing, Al-Megrahi, now dead, was not the man, that Libya was not involved, that the evidence was deliberately altered to point the finger at Libya and away from other possible conspirators in Palestine, and that this was an American CIA plot. Now, these conspiracy theories are very attractive, but personally, I think over the years they have failed to really produce hard evidence. And now we've got, finally, just the possibility that this man, Masood, who has been extradited from Libya to face trial, could supply the missing link and finally nail down who was responsible.
Yeah, and this trial has actually been postponed. It was, as we say, it was due to begin, or jury selection was due to begin today, but it's been postponed because there's apparently some new evidence that those involved have been made aware of.
I don't know what that new evidence is. I think they're absolutely determined to get this right, and it's very, very frustrating. Masood is not a young man any longer. He's in his 70s. He's served time in a Libyan prison. So I don't know what state of health he is in. And it's been postponed till next January. I guess this new evidence is prosecution evidence, but we don't know. He is said to have made a confession in a Libyan prison. He claims that confession was forced from him under duress. So obviously his defense team will be trying to unpick that, but it's a very strong card to play for the prosecution.
Yeah, indeed. When you reflect, I suppose, Magnus, on how the families particularly have dealt with the lack of closure in the years since the Lockerbie bombing, what do you consider has been the biggest shortfall here? Where has this, I suppose, gone wrong, or at least not worked out right for the families in these in these years?
The frustration for the families is that there were flaws in the prosecution case. They relied heavily on a Maltese shopkeeper, Tony Gauci, the man who identified Megrahi as being on the island of Malta at the time the bomb was allegedly put on the plane. He was a pretty unreliable witness, and then it emerged that he'd been rewarded by the FBI for giving evidence. which of course made him look rather dodgy. And then the critical bit of forensic evidence, which was a fragment of a bomb timer, which originally linked the bomb to Libya. The guy who manufactured the timer retracted his evidence and said, no, that's nothing to do with me. So two critical bits of evidence were challenged, and those who believed that they got the wrong man pointed to those as suggestions that the prosecution case was flawed from top to bottom. That's the frustrating thing. But, in the end, the critical bit of evidence seems to me to be that Megrahi was on Malta on the day that the bomb was allegedly loaded, and there, with him, identified now, was this man Masood, a known bomb maker. That, to me, is a coincidence too far.
Do you think this trial then can answer this, can solve this case, I suppose, can put the conspiracy theories to bed, can offer some closure to the families, and if not, is there any route left that would get us there?
I think we're running out of time. Key witnesses are dead. I think this is the last chance. I doubt, personally, that even if Masood is convicted, that those who continue to believe that they got the wrong man will continue their case. These theories have a life of their own, don't they? I mean, we look back at the Kennedy assassination, and I think something like 70% of Americans believe that they got the wrong verdict there. So I think the conspiracy theories will continue, whatever happens. But critically, I think if Masood is convicted, I think to those who really look hard at the evidence, that is the end of the affair.
Yeah. Magnus, it's good to speak to you. Thank you very much. Thanks for joining us.
Okay.
Magnus Linklater covered the Lockerbie bombing at The Time. He's written in The Times this week about it. You can find that online at thetimes.com.